You know, like your teacher was talking about, you can join the military to gain citizenship within the U.S. If you serve 2 years. It's part of what's called the DREAM Act that they passed in the U.S. government. But the thing about it is, first of all, they want you to go fight in this war in order to gain citizenship. But the other thing is that the National Guard actually patrols the U.S.-Mexican border. And so people who are joining the National Guard, if they're not citizens, they could be going, you know, potentially to protect the U.S. from their own people. It just doesn't make any sense. It's completely bogus. But that's the thing that they ask people to do, and it's really horrible in my opinion. And then I'm going to talk a second about the benefits. So you probably heard a lot, oh, they'll pay for all of your college, 4 years of college, right? How many people have heard that? A bunch, right? Actually, according to the GI Bill, which is the bill that was passed in the U.S. government in order to give you college money, it gives you, right now, it gives you $1,100 a month if you're enrolled full-time in school. That's not even enough to cover tuition. That's barely enough to cover rent and food for you so that you don't have to work. You know, so I have a lot of friends that are enrolled in school right now that are veterans that have to take 2 or 3 jobs to put themselves through school. They have student loans, all those things, and they thought that the military was going to cover them. The other thing about it is that everyone who joins the military, you pay $1,200 towards that fund your first year. So every year they'll take out, or every month they'll take out $100 for your first year. So everyone in the military pays into it. But only something like 12% of the military actually uses it when they get out. So the army, well, the military in general is actually making money off of this. They're making money. And one of the problems with it is that you have to have an honorable discharge to receive your college money. So even if you served in Iraq or Afghanistan, you could come back and get in trouble, and they might not give you an honorable discharge, and then you don't get any of your benefits. Also the health care. So has anyone heard of the VA, the Veterans Administration? So the VA is, they have like VA hospitals and stuff. There's one here in LA. And it's like a veterans only kind of services. It's veterans only services, so they have like health care and things like that. First of all, the only way you get most of your VA benefits is if you have an honorable discharge. But the thing about it is that we'll get to questions after we're done. Hopefully I'll answer it, but if not, keep a hold of it. But so you go to the VA, and it could take months just to get an appointment just for something like medication. You know, I have a friend, my friend Zach, who lives in Atlanta. He called a couple months ago to make an appointment about getting some medication. It took them 2 months to call him back just about making an appointment to go in and talk to them about getting medication. Also, you guys obviously seen homeless people on the street, right? 1 in 4 of those homeless people are veterans. A lot of them served in Vietnam. There's Iraq and Afghanistan veterans who are homeless now. I have friends that are homeless. They're living on couches. Because they can't find a job, or they can't afford to go to school. So those are some things that veterans can expect when they get out. Because it's like, if you have any other job, you know, once you finish that job, once you get out, they're not going to keep paying you. You know, they're not going to keep giving you health care and things like that. They just kind of like throw you out on the street. They're just like, do whatever you have to do. You know, I hope you made some good plans, and that's it. So they essentially, you're fending for yourself. And a lot of the skills that you learn in the military, like for me, I was a combat infantryman, and so what that is like, I essentially go out and fight the enemy. Like that's the job, essentially, in one sentence. And the only skills that I really learned from the military that I could apply would be like a cop or a security guard. And first of all, I don't want to be a cop, because how many people have seen or had instances of like police repression or police brutality or whatever against them? Or have any friends or have seen it, you know, like police hassling people? Come on, it's LA. I know there's more people that have seen police hassling people, you know? That's what we did in Iraq. We drove around and we policed the place. We harassed people, just like they do on the streets of LA. And I don't think that's right. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the connections that I made when I came home. Because I came home, I went home to Atlanta, and I saw that stuff happening on the streets, and I was like, wait, I was told I was going to Iraq and doing that so that we had more freedom here at home. And obviously we don't, you know? And that's something that really angered me when I came home. But the last thing I want to say is, obviously like a lot of you guys have played like the video games, like war video games and stuff. So it makes it look kind of cool, you know, like shoot people, and it makes it seem kind of fun, right? I mean, I played that stuff. You guys, there's no need to be shy about it, you know. But like, Call of Duty 4, I played it. I played Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare, you know, like I played all those games. But I want to say something like 18 veterans of all wars. This is not just Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, but all veterans that are still alive. 18 a day commit suicide. 4 Iraq or Afghanistan veterans a day commit suicide because of the emotional trauma when you come back of the things that you did overseas. So it's very serious. It's not like the video games like they make it seem, you know. It's actually something that you have to live with for the rest of your life, you know, is that you took someone's life and you can't justify it. There's just no way to justify it. And so that's something that veterans are dealing with. There's a lot of veterans coming back with what's called post-traumatic stress disorder. It's essentially when you go through an experience that's so horrific that you can't forget about it, you can't sleep, you have nightmares, all those different things. A lot of people have it. I go through it, you know. A lot of people who've been to Iraq and Afghanistan go through it. I'll get to your questions in a minute. A lot of people who've been to Iraq and Afghanistan go through it. But one thing about it is that the military doesn't train you how to identify it, so you have to do it yourself. And so a lot of people don't get help because in the military, the last thing you want to look like is someone who, like a coward, you know? That's how they train you, to not look like a coward. So you don't raise those things, you know? But it's a very real symptom of war. And it's something that, it's an epidemic. It's one of the biggest injuries that people are coming back with.